right, my friends, we're going to just do a quick little stream. We have Jack on with us. He is the hero of the dojo. When you see like this whole site and everything, this is our guy, dude. And he continues to do amazing things. One amazing thing is this incredible time graph that you see over here. Okay. The layout's a little funny, you know. The layout's a little funny. It's hard for me to actually get the time graph fully visible as well as like the notes, you know. So that's a struggle of Boomer GM.
You can resize the windows and shrink them a little bit.
Well, it's the OBS, it's the streaming platform thing that it's still the width. Well, I guess. But see if okay, let's just see how this works. So something like that, right? Okay.
Yeah, but you can also do it with the PGN window and the time graph window. So you could lower the width of the PGN text and keep the board the same width if you wanted.
Ooh.
Same time graph.
Okay. Whoa, dude. See, you're genius, dude. Okay. Wait, let me look at this. So now, oh, that was really cool. So now I will collapse this, I think, and just expand. There we go, buddy. That's nice. In fact, what we'll do is we're going to take this, just scooch it just a little bit. Oh, genius level. Genius level. Okay, my friends, this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at two things. We're going to look at Kostya's game, which is ongoing, and we're going to look at Jack's latest game that he just annotated. Why don't we first start with Kostya, and we'll just kind of check in with it, and then we will, be able to come back to it. So this Kostya is over here. I looked at this position. I thought he was crushing, and so let's just take a look. Now, this system that Kostya's doing, he's done a video on this thing. And if you imagine a stonewall attack, all right, so here's a way to think about it. If you imagine a stonewall attack with e3, f4, c3, and, it goes knight d2, knight f3, bishop d3, in that position, your bishop is on c1. So what Kostya wants to do is to get the stonewall position with the bishop out. Okay, and he achieves it this game because his opponent didn't realize the danger. So here we go. Boom. Boom. And here it is, f4. In my estimation, white's already got a nice position. So bishop d6, boom. b6, boom. Bishop b7. Now, to understand this position, it's important to note that black's main idea is to play knight e4. It does not help that that knight is pinned, however. Kostya brings in the dog, and now, boom, he's just in time to stop that knight e4. If black could have achieved knight e4, we're not going to have anything that special. But now...
Jesse, your board is cut off on the bottom.
Oh, I can fix that.
You only see like half of the A file.
I was so close to full glory. But that was because I had jadubed our situation here, so hold on. Now we're going to have to, that's the problem of switching between scenes. You often don't get it all. Whoop. Hopefully that will translate when we go back to your beautiful board. Now let me ask you, Jack, does what I said, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Okay.
I'm not too familiar with the stonewall, but this position definitely looks better for white for me.
Yeah. So castles happened, and now a decision that's very interesting. Bishop takes f6. And Kostya thought about this bad boy a little bit. And the first assumption is that GF will be terrible for black because like queen h3, followed by death. And then the second assumption is, even though I traded off a minor and I have all this extra space, it's cool because I'm going to roll you with g4, g5. Now, one thing about this, I think, is that if you play g4 first, then maybe when you eventually take, in order to play g5 next, the dude could then maybe consider gf. By the way, normal people here might consider just castling short. That's what a normal person might do, Kostya Coast. But I think I understand is that he's saying, I don't know, maybe the king will be cool, undecided, and I definitely want to play g4, g5. Okay, so ambitious. And now black should definitely think forever now. And he ends up thinking for almost 10 minutes and decides to take on d4, which I don't really understand. And then he thinks for 21 minutes on queen e7. So I'll tell you the problem of this. What that shows to me is that he came up with some kind of idea on cd4, and then he had massive doubts on it with queen e7. So it's bad chess form when you're starting a forcing variation, because for sure after cd, white's the most natural move is ed, to then start tanking. There's no reason to be tanking in that situation. But it expresses the fact that he looks like he's in grave danger. He might be just totally lost, and Kostya's thinking about what to do after queen e7. So I don't know. CD does not help black unless there's something concrete you have as an idea. Now, is there some idea after queen e7? I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe what Kostya's wondering is, like, if g5, maybe you try to sack the pawn. Let's just try that for a second. I don't believe in this for a half a minute because our knight on e5 is so amazing. Like f6, it doesn't look good. White's got so many moves here. Knight c6, gf is the simple man's approach. Looks abysmal. Kostya's he already did one video on this. He's gonna do another video if he wins this game. Because, okay, but here's the real deal though. Queen e7 has some kind of idea. Do I know what it is? I do not. I do not. Is g5 the move white would like to play? Yes, it is. That was the whole point of playing g4. So it's looking pretty amazing. Kostya castled. Now, this might not ruin anything, but I also don't know exactly what the fear was. One serious point, though, for black, or let's call it the bummer, is it's not clear what black is supposed to do right now. There's no good building move, for example. Now, it looks really ugly, but maybe black could consider h6. The guy's already in pretty good time pressure. Point of h6 would be that if g5, maybe we could try to pretend we're live with hgf, g knight e4 then. Always some kind of pawn sack with knight e4. Anyways, if h6, then we'd have contact with this square. Another move I'd be tempted with for black would be, I don't know, I don't like it, but b5. And I would love for you to take it because then I get knight e4. But I think you then just play g5 and I'm just not doing anything here. I don't see what I'm doing anyway. One problem actually of this move order now. No, this is not a problem. I'm just taking and I'm happy as a clam. Okay. So I don't know. Castles seems like it's fine. I don't know if Kostya found anything that he was afraid of on g5. Yeah. So, Kostya's in the catbird seat. Yeah. All right, you guys, we're going to come back and we're about to see Jack's game. And he says that I'm going to scream on this move. So we're about to go look. By the way, this... Oh, wait, let me make sure this looks correct, Mundo. It looks okay. This is the amazing clock time thing. I asked Jack, I was like, dude, can we get the clock time graph? And he was like, I can work on that. And then look at this thing. It's beautiful. And you can see in this game, he went the distance with this 11... What is he, an 8-year-old dude? 11-year-old?
He was probably like 11 or 12. I didn't ask him, but somewhere in that range.
I'm just teasing you. Okay, so let's get into it. First question I have for you is, did he trick you into a perk?
I mean, my opening theory is not very, very good, so...
That's fine. Let me put it this way. What do you normally play against e4?
E4, I played the Caro-Kann.
Okay, so he tricked you. And you're playing the King's Indian against the d4?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing just to note is that in this position, after 2 knight c3, the response that makes the most positional sense is d5. Your move's playable, right? But especially if you don't want to deal with the perk, then this is going to shut e4 down for white. And it questions whether that knight on c3 should even be there. All right? And that's why the old-timers despised knight c3. There's some, like, Yobava London-y people that think you can play chess this way now. But trust me, if you just play principled moves from here, you're going to be fine. Okay. So, hi, Abdul. All right. Does that make sense, Jack?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't go for this because I'm just more used to like the King's Indian structure, but
fine, good.
I do know that this is probably the more principled way to play it.
Bishop f4, bishop e3 I like better, but let's put bishop f4 on the board. The kid ends up losing a tempo on this. Now, why is bishop c4 controversial?
I don't know. I mean, I knew it was weird when he played it just because I haven't seen it really. Nothing specifically jumped out that was wrong about it for me, though.
All right. So, there's two reasons why this is funky. It looks very natural to be pressuring f7, right? But it gives you two sources of counterplay. One, Abdul mentioned, is the first, the just immediate question, is knight e4 possible? And this is a standard perk trick to break up white's center. It does involve a little bit of scariness because you have to then be comfortable with this position. Bop, bop, bop. And this can arise in a variety of different ways, i.e. the knight e4 thing can come with it. You can imagine the pieces being slightly different, right? For example, the most common way you see this trick is pop, 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 bishop c4. This is the most common. And then we get this knight e4. Your version, though, is better for you, I think, because when we go then to knight e4, the bishop on, it's not clear that the bishop on f4 wants to be there, and you can immediately start messing with castling by hand with rook f8, right? So we'll play king g8 next move. Okay. So let me go back, and I'll say the other controversial reason why bishop c4 is generally not a good idea is that it also, if for whatever reason knight e4 isn't playable, it facilitates your queenside expansion with both c6 threatening d5 and c6 threatening b5. And especially if white wants to castle queenside, well, it's going to be, you're just, it's like an accelerator for our counterplay on the queen side. Okay, good. So castles, kid plays f3. Did you think of me, Jack, in the tempos when you saw this move f3?
Not at this point. No.
Okay. I think I'm fine with knight bd7, knight e2, and then bam, nice move. Free tempo. I'm glad you chose to do it that way. Yeah. Right. Okay, he keeps the tension. Makes some sense. And now you prepared to get kind of crazy. And you play, I think it's a good move. You play c6. I don't know, maybe if you might, I think, have the wrong idea of what to do after this move. But in general, the move is good. And by the way, b5 is not a bad move in these kinds of positions. Because, well, actually, I'll tell you what, Jack. Your intention was to go for the madness with d5, right?
Yeah.
Beyond d5, why else is c6 a good move?
Well, it also prevents the knight from coming to d5 or b5.
Good. Good. That's the primary thing. And what's the next thing?
As you said earlier, if he ends up castling queenside, then I have b5 and the attack is faster.
Good. And your queen. You got your queen, a scope.
Sure.
Yeah, so c6 is a good move. And I will say, here you've won the battle of the opening, especially because the bishop lost a clean tempo from bishop f4 to e3, right? Okay, now, kid plays a4, and you lost your mind, Jack. Lost your mind at d5. Whew! Man, now you guys just, like, let me say, when you're chatting with Jack, it's kind of like how he looks now. So you would expect, like, kind of a placid dude, not, that angry. But then you see these moves and you're like, something's lurking underneath the surface over there. So Jack goes for it, plays d5. Okay. Did you have other candidate moves?
I annotated this one kind of late, so I don't remember at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe I was looking at, like, sliding the king over, dropping the knight back, and trying to play like f5 or maybe knight b6 I was looking at as well. And I didn't like the f5 plan because it felt really slow. And I don't remember what I didn't like about knight b6. It didn't really seem to do anything. He just moves the bishop back.
Okay. Couple other ideas I'll throw out there. In general, whenever we take, white would like to recapture with the knight, because that knight on e2 is in a lot of ways their worst piece. So we could either capture immediately and see how he recaptures, or play queen e7 with the intention that when we take and they do the natural move, then your move comes with more force. A similar way of doing this, or similar idea, is to start with rook e8. Same idea, right? We want to play ed and then d5. And one thing that you want to get comfortable with in the King's Indian in general is this kind of small center stuff, where it's important to see that you're doing great because the knights aren't doing anything and your pawns are actually controlling a lot of very impressive squares. So for example, knight e5 could be a simple move, and then we could probably play bishop e6, just as an example, right? And I would say black's a little bit better here. Okay, so, but the madness. ed5. And now you've got several options here, actually. One question I have is, how about that move? Knight b6, excuse me.
I did wait like 20 seconds to see it on the...
No, I'm sorry. I might try to share it with you, but then it's just like we're gonna crash.
I believe I looked at this during the game. Maybe I didn't actually at this point.
If it works, it really validates your d5 move, by the way.
Right.
So I think like for example, if he moves the bishop, let's say put on b3 for a second, the simple default option for you here is just to go like that, bam. And then you're definitely better because you're tempoing him all over the place.
Right.
Right? Okay. So then the only thing I think you need to calculate, I don't think is that hard though. You go boom, bingo, forced, and then I'm taking all his coconuts. You're winning here. It takes e3. And Quasim says, classic snip, snop, snip. I think so. Yeah. So I think if that's true, then d5 is correct. Nice move. But then the ed4, well, we're going to look at it. It seems a little weird to me. And you're right that bishop d4 makes more sense. And now you're looking at knight b6. This is more complicated, though, because for one, the guy could play bishop takes b6. Right? And actually, you have that here. Boom, boom, boom. Black is a pawn down, but white can't castle short, and castling long is dangerous due to the open b file. Okay, that's fair. So you could write like compensation for black or something like that. Yeah, and that's probably fair. It makes me a little nervous that this bishop is still good, though. His bishop c4 is a pretty good piece. But your dark square control is amazing. There's no doubting that. Okay, that was a good variation. I like what you wrote there too. But I guess what it points to though is knight b6, a move earlier was cleaner, right?
Yeah, I guess I missed that during the game.
So he took with the knight. Let's see if he's thinking. He's not really thinking. Yeah. Boom. Now this is kind of weird. Again, we could play knight b6. Right? And then again, when the bishop moves, you're going to tempo him all over the place with knight d5. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But what he doesn't understand is, so you play knight d5, bishop d5, c d5, and now the kid loses his mind by taking the pawn. But the problem for you here is if the kid had castled, you might be worse here. I don't know, but at the very minimum, white's going to live, I think. Because you have that isolated pawn, and it's not immediately evident how you crack him.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see this kid. So, yeah, 95. He was not thinking on this one. By the way, how did you get the clock time so well into this game?
I manually entered them.
Oh, nice, dude. Okay, good.
Every move, I write down what the clock says, unless I'm in time trouble.
And you were even writing down seconds?
Yeah, my clock shows the seconds.
Dang. I mean, every clock shows the seconds, but I mean, I usually round it. I usually round it up.
Some of the clocks that I've used only show the minutes until you're under a certain amount of time.
True, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. Okay, so I think that's youth. That's inexperience talking right there. Knight takes d5. Okay, let's read what you write here. So queen a5, knight c3. Forced to lose the knight. This is where I'd calculated to when I played d5. I saw that I was a pawn down, but white's king was still in the center. I also saw that I could pin the dark square bishop with rook e8 to prevent white from castling. And then I had moves like bishop h6 or queen e5 to apply more pressure. Based on that, I thought I had compensation for the pawn. Okay, good. Okay. So, now we're going to get rook e8, queen d2. All right. So, okay. So now the hectic part of today's festivities, and you did think on bishop h6. And then what we're saying is you miss knight e4. Right, okay. I'm just looking at this madness situation. So the analysis you have is queen e5, king f2, knight b6, and then I guess we should assume b3, and it's not totally clear what's happening here. Let's see if we... Actually, Jack, let's do this as an exercise. What's the reason to think that maybe white can hold this thing together? It's pretty creaky, by all means, but what's the reason, like, maybe he might live through this?
I mean, I feel like he's just gonna basically bring the rook to the center and then artificially castle, and at that point I don't feel like I have anything for my
Okay.
pawn down. I mean,
I do think, I
but
definitely think you have compensation. But the problem in executing this person is this bishop isn't active in the attack on the dark squares. Also, this knight is a little bit confusing about because it's the dark squares that we want, right? And then this is just hard to see how we're going to get to those dark squares. If that makes sense. Okay, let's go back and just see if we can find something more concrete. So let's just start from here to see if we can come up with something. One simpleton move I have is knight b6. We can consider knight e5 too, but I just want to see how white's going to deal with this knight b6 thing. So the intention is if castles, then he's going to be wasted with knight c4. Right?
and if he doesn't castle,
Then he's got to come up with a move, yeah. Queen e2 looks wrong because of rook e8. And then, yeah, what is he going to do?
what if he plays b3 here?
But then the knight on c3 hangs.
Oh yeah, right.
That's the key difference that I want to do before the queen gets a d2, and then he can't play b3. That makes sense, right? Okay, let's do an interlude. Let's go see Kostya. Oh, this guy's tanking, buddy. Hold on. So castles happened. Knight d7, not a happy move to make. Queen h3, makes sense. g6, rook a e1. Now, the amazing thing about rook a e1 is he's saying, well, let's think about this for a second. He's saying that on f6, well, that's what black is debating. Let's try to imagine what horrible thing happens to black on f6. Okay, I'm just going to admit I don't immediately see how this works. Black is worried about something, though, because he hasn't played it yet. All right, see what happened. The guy just moved. He did play f6. And now we're going to see what Kostya's idea is. Also, Kostya played rook AE1 fairly quickly, which suggests that I don't think he missed f6, either, either like had some idea, could have just told himself, rook AE1's the move anyway. And by the way, a key difference is, Black played knight d7 without g5 as it was. Okay, Kostya moved. He took. And then did this. Okay. And what I was going to say about g5 is Kostya could have played a move like g5 on the move prior to make f6 not as tasty. Oh, this is spicy, my friends. Okay. So, first of all, time time is on Kostya's side. Time is on Kostya's side. Yes, it is. Okay, so if we imagine FG, one first thought is rook e6. What I don't like about this move, though, is it allows Black to activate their dumb bishop.
I would just go into the focus share,
And then I don't know. I don't like it. So, FD. I'm going to say I don't see it yet. G5, pretty quick. Maybe Kostya feels like he sees something that I don't see. Strategically, I get it. He would like to make this pawn move and then bring a knight to e5 or something, right? The dude played rook a e8. I don't have a comprende here. What's wrong with that move? Conceivably, both players thought that this was crushing, but bishop c8, I don't know. That looks bad. Huh. Kostya bluffed him. Okay, e8. Dude, this position, let me just say, if I go to this, like out of the opening position, I'm like, Kostya's looks like he's crushing this fool. When I look at this position, I don't really get it.
What if after f takes g5, you were taking with the rook on e6? What if you take queen instead?
But then I could snip, snop, snooka, and then bishop takes f4. Right?
Yeah.
Now, Abdul, I do understand bishop takes f6. Let's go back to this is Abdul's question, bishop f6. I don't know if it was the only move. Like I said, normal people here would play castles. They'd just be like, bows. First things first, Kraai tells me to do my business with the castles. And so castles is definitely a nice position for white. Kostya goes a little loco. I understand. I'm not a fan of CD4, by the way. Black is clearly swimming here. That means they don't know what the hell's going on because they're thinking for 10 minutes and then 20 minutes when it was an obvious recapture with ED. So then this happens. This happens. And one move that I would want to talk about here is g5 now. But the bummer with that is bishop takes, and I do not want to take back with the f pawn. Or I would like to take back with the f pawn, but then my g pawn falls. Plus this coconut's falling. Oh man. I think so. Abdul's intuition might be right here. Queen h3, g6, rook ae1, g5. I still don't understand fg, but even here, it's unclear how Kostya is supposed to do his business. One intuition is that the knight on d2 will eventually arrive and it will be a champion. But it's hard for the knight to arrive because anytime we play knight f3, the pawn on f4 is hanging. Yeah, I don't know. So, wait a second. Moves were played. Queen g4. Okay. So, one piece of good news is if the guy freaks out and plays f5, then I think we can claim white is better because we will then easily be able to play knight f3 and knight e5. It's not a winning position, but it's a better position because the bishop on c8 is so terrible. There's still questions here, though. Both bishop c8. Bishop c8 would be my. I just want him to do this right away, and I think I'm threatening e5. Yeah, I think I'm threatening e5. So if we go back to this, first of all, Queen e7 was kind of a weird move. Kostya played castles in 30 seconds. Kostya? Kostya? What are you doing, buddy? Kostya's not doing good this tournament, man. We used to say back in the day, we would say, if you can't win this position, I don't know which one you're going to win. Abdul was talking about g5 and then maybe castles long in this position. Well, it makes sense to me. Now, if any kind of takes e5, f e5, queen g5, we just tell them they're crazy because of rook g1. That makes a lot of sense to me. A lot of sense. Yeah. So I don't know. He played that quickly, and now we're at this position. And white will need a good move after bishop c8. Let's try knight f3. Let's just see if this works. Well, maybe this works fine. Kostya might be like, Kraai, just mellow out, buddy. I got this. I got this. You don't have to be so outraged all the time. Okay. Now, let's say I move the queen somewhere. Like there. I might change my mind on that, but let's start there. Anyways, it's not the knockout we were hoping for. And Abdul's saying FG maybe. Yes, FG maybe. I was thinking maybe, I guess Kostya's idea is knight g5. Fe5 maybe, but then you're allowing like rook F4, and nobody likes to smell those coconuts. So knight G5, totally plausible. And then we're going to move the queen somewhere now. I can imagine the reason I didn't say FG is maybe white does have something in this position. Yeah. Pumpkin says he really needs a win. Oh, you bet, dude. He's struggling. He got wiped out by his friend Tatev, who also teaches at the dojo. Oh my God. They were supposed to be friends. They're not friends. All right. Not friends anymore, anyway. Not friends anymore, Jack. They're only friends if you let them win. Now, this dude definitely has a time problem, and he plays bishop c8. Okay, good move. Oh my God.
What's the time control for this?
I temporarily turned off my audio, Jack. The sirens were too much for me. But you had a question?
I said, what's the time control?
Oh, I'm assuming it's 90-30 with 30 seconds increment. We could go to the very top though and see. Oh, it doesn't. It doesn't.
90-30 according to Pumpkin and the Cat.
Yeah. Okay. I don't see another move besides knight f3. Yep. If I was black, I'd be thrilled to get this position, dude. Compared to what I had before, oh man, this guy gave Kostya all of his dreams here. One reason for knight f3, by the way, is I think, at least on h4, I'm worried about e5 working. Right? Because now you got to take. If you throw gf in, I throw that in. So now you got to take. And now black is just fine. I would say better, because the bishops are going to open up and it's like, we don't like it. So with knight f3, it's not quite so simple for the dude. And the knight f3 is kind of what white wants to do anyway. Now, I was thinking, actually, you could consider this like a madman. And here it's involved in pawn sacrifice. Let's put this one down here. And this position, maybe black has enough for the pawn because the bishops are so strong. I'd want to be white here. I like having extra pawns, you know, but maybe black has enough play on this one. In any case, Kostya, buddy, you got to play knight f3. There's no other move, buddy. There's no other move, man. Come on. Oh, here's a potential problem that maybe he's looking at. If knight f3, Kostya might be wondering if his opponent's going to touch his coconuts with queen a4, intending e5. I don't believe in this, but I understand maybe being a little nervous about it. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't believe in it at all, because then white just transfers and, like, the queen has no business taking all this stuff because we're going to start mating. We're going to start mating, you know, mating. So I don't know. So, but we do have to worry about some kind of weird queen jump. All right, Jack, you take over for a second. I'll be right back. This is our position, bishop c8.
Huh. Jesse's just leaving me all by myself. Can't even control the board, and he just walks away. But f takes g first if h4. I feel like the position for black was good after h4, e5. If he takes on g5 first, I feel like that helps white instead, because then you can take back with the f pawn. And I don't think e5 is as good in that variation. Hi, rogues.
This is the mythical Jack, yeah. Oh, Kostya. Do you have any thoughts, Jack? What's going on?
I mean, it definitely seems like he's lost the thread a little bit compared to what he had before. I don't know how easily Kostya gets tilted, or if he does get tilted, but maybe there's some element of tilt given his previous rounds.
Sorry, I was muted. So here's the issue. Oh no, knight f3. There's a very simple queen c7, Kostyatsky. Oh no. No. We really screwed it up this time. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Before we resign, we might be bad luck. E5, F5, E4. I think we're hosed, honestly. Okay, before we resign, let's go here.
Has he played knight f3 already?
No, he's realizing that queen c7 is the problemito. Takes. Let me play knight d6. It looks like we can get a draw maybe in that variation. But that was the long variation, wrong variation kind of thing. That's the issue, though, for dude. That he wants to play knight f3, but queen c7 looks like a real hassle. And the obvious thing to say is like, black had one bad piece, and all of a sudden now it's doing things. Oh man, Jack. We're gonna have to pay for therapy or something for Kostya, dude.
needed to take more time earlier.
There's been rumors about Kostya having a girlfriend or something. I was wondering if we could blame it on her, but those rumors haven't been substantiated yet, you know. So I don't know what to say about that. All right, let's try. Queen h4 is not happy, but maybe that could be another move for poor Kostya to consider. Yeah, this is just unpleasant. If we imagine FG on FG, black is better after E5, either first rook F1 or just E5 directly. And on Queen G5, ye old Queen C7, like, what are we going to do there, buddy? Black goes to the dark squares. Oh,
I'll be right back.
Kostya. Wow, what's going on, Kostya, buddy? Yep, I have to do something for him now. All right, Abdul's talking some smack. I think this is a variation he's talking about here. So, bishop c8, knight f3, queen c7, gf, e5, queen g5. Good move, Abdul. The point is now we're looking at d5. Okay. That's a good point. Okay. So let's consider this. Now, there's a further, this might work, Abdul. This might be a good idea. There's a further problem, though. In addition to e5, there's this coconut. And if you, okay, but wait, we're not done yet. Then we have this coconut. And this coconut is no good because this coconut is hanging. So hold on. Hold on. We might have an idea. Oh, did Kostya play knight f3? He did. Nice. All right, my friends, let's refresh our fears and everything. So on queen c7, Abdul came up with an idea that I missed at first. It's simple and beautiful. GF, e5, queen g5, and we're x-raying the coconut. And that looks good. e4, queen takes d5. Well, that's very spicy. Okay, good, Kostya. I hope you have Abdul in your corner over there, buddy. Now, black has a variety of tries here. As I mentioned earlier, they can sack the pawn with e5. There is the FG option. All right, let's see what dude did. Dude did play queen c7. And GF. Now, at the moment, I'm seeing an advantage for Kostya. Let me just map out these variations. So GF, on e5, we have this thing. On rook f6, it's pretty basic. I play knight e5. And the point is, the knight has achieved his square. And with that, really, this guy's dead. Game's not over, but we're doing great. Similar story on GF. Well, it's even a better story. GF knight e5, and the cool beans is you cannot take this pawn, and I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It looks like crispy critters, honestly. It looks like crispy critters. Okay, so black played queen c7 pretty quickly, which suggests to me that he hadn't figured this whole thing out. That's what it suggests. It looks like GF was played. Good move, Kostya coast. And this poor dude with 18 minutes left is wondering, dang, I tanked for two moves that I probably shouldn't have tanked on. Jack, what's the name of your cat, boss?
Harry.
Harry. There
Yeah.
it goes. For Dirty Harry?
No, it's short for Harrison. Like George Harrison.
Okay, George Harrison. For Harry the H pawn, that's right. E5 was played. I have a feeling dude did not see Queen G5. Kostya's in it, dude. I mean, I don't see anything after Queen G5 either, my friends. It looks like one of those moves where once you see it, you're like, oh no, I really blew it here. Kostya did it. Thank you very much. And with this chump's clock ticking down, it's not so easy. Oh, it looks totally lost, dude. Totally crispy critters. Now, let me tell you guys how hard it is to make a GM norm in this kind of event. You're playing this dude who is rated 2230. I don't know how old he is, but generally, you know, a FIDE master got up to 2300 at some point, right? And then held it. They got to hold it there for a little bit. At least that's what the olden times FMs. So 2230, if you beat him, you're just nominally better than the performance rating you need of 2600. So basically, you haven't really helped yourself, right? And if you draw or lose, forget about your GM norm, right? So it's like the cost to benefit ratio. Oh, it's rough. It's rough. Now, Kostya has no chance anymore of making a norm anyway, because he already lost 2. But still, that just shows how hard it is to make this business happen. Now, Black clearly didn't see Queen G5. As we say in the business, he blundered it, and he is crispy critters, and he's just, you know, maybe moaning a little bit, thinking about his life, the things that went wrong. Yeah, it's rough. Maybe you try a move like ED. I don't know. You know, no one's happy about that, but you could think about it. It's a real mess. Yeah. That's right, MD9. Don't think of the dojo, Kostya Coast. Tadev just had to be mama, that's right. Performance ratings are pretty basic. If you beat somebody, you get that rating plus 400. If you draw somebody, you get their rating. If you lose somebody, it's their rating minus 400. And then you just average it out over the event, you know. So if Kostya won this game, he'd have a performance rating of 2630. You know, lost to Tatev, let's say she's 2300, so he'd have a rating of 1900 then. Yeah. Okay. Dude, let's go back to Jack's game. So rook e8. I guess it's a question mark. Queen d2. Bishop h6. You did think on it. And then he blundered with f4. Yeah. Okay. And not really, the kid's not thinking at all. Well, he's thinking a little bit, you know. He's got those Indian parents, man. They're not going to be happy when they see this game. They're going to be pissed. Boom. So now, knight d1. I'm just thinking about other things you could do here. So, what Jack missed was that rook a3 is coming. Let's see how long he thought on this move. Oh, he tanked. Okay. One bummer is I can't make any kind of trickiness work like here. Like if I could get to the queen, that would be cool, but I can't. Okay, so we went here. And then after 95, dude could castle, is what we're saying.
Yeah, which I missed during the game.
And this is the one. This is the one where Jack is gonna. He's about to. I guess that's the next one that he thinks I'm really gonna scream at him.
Oh, I know you are. Especially when you look at the clock.
Okay. So castles, and now maybe the guy survives, right?
Right. Which I realized after I played 95. And I got up and walked around while he was thinking.
But buddy, before we decide 95 is a mistake, we got to ask ourselves, well, what should you have done?
That's true. That's a good point.
Because let's say we play knight b6, and let's say he castles. He's still threatening bishop f4. Right, so knight c4, bishop f4. I don't know how we get out of that business. And a little hard. Again, your bishop on c8 is having trouble connecting to the dark squares because it's on the light squares. Let's just see if we can come up with something else here. Also, it then brings us back to this question, where it would be certainly a miracle if this guy was surviving, but maybe he is. One simpleton move here would be queen h5. And the idea there would just be to stop the dude from castling. Yeah, that looks strong. So let's then look again at queen g5. It looks natural, but I don't know if I see anything at this point of how to waste him. Because once castles now happens, we have lost our ability to mess with him. Yeah, okay. So queen g5, honestly, it was a hard position, first of all. You should be easy on yourself because this is a hard position. And queen h5 is not immediately intuitive, and all you're doing there is trying to slow down the guy from castling. Also on queen h5, he might be able to kick a little bit with the move queen e2. Though now, I think I like this move. And now I'm threatening snip and snap. That looks good. That looks strong, yeah. Okay, quick check-in on Kostya's game. Holy pacholies. E4, queen takes d5. Oh, Abdul's a genius, dude. Look at that. This guy's going down. All right, back to Jack's game. Oh, wait, something just happened? King h8 was played. And this is just a prayer at this point for this dude. Kostya does want to be a little accurato here, but he's got multiple moves to consider. What black, I guess, is banking on is rook e4, bishop b7. But white has so many moves here. F7, bishop e4. There might even be some knight g5 here. He's going to think about it. A knight g5 looks hard to meet, you know. Okay. So, queen g5, rook a3, knight e5, bishop f4. And then you got really fancy and then didn't play knight d3. I calculated this before playing knight e5 and then didn't play it because I am dumb. Oh, come on, Jack. You're not dumb, boss.
You know, what I did is I walked back to the board. I saw he hadn't castled. I was very excited. And I had calculated this. And I went to play and I was like, well, it's fancier if I take the bishop with the queen first. And I played that. And as soon as I played it, I was like, oh my God. I just gave his king the d2 square, and now now I'm just lucky I can get the queen back.
Yeah.
And I played it probably under 30 seconds, I think, which is why I'm very upset at myself for playing it that fast.
Yeah. And trying to be fancy, too.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Now we got this thing. Bishop d7, good move. Rook f1, fine. So now we have to beat the kid in an endgame. Okay. All right, it has to be okay. Kid plays king c1, and I think it would be interesting for him. No, it's not interesting. So king c1, knight c5. Now, so spicy situation. Spicy. And you miss knight d5, knight f6. Okay. If you play bishop c6, he's still going to get compensation with something like knight g4. And I don't know if I'd call it a big threat, but knight e5 is on the horizon. So one kind of obvious move would be king g7. Your variation maybe isn't bad here. Boom. Boom. Good variation, yeah. That's a good variation. Maybe you could try to guess what the eval is here. There's worries for both sides, though. Okay, good. F5 certainly is logical. And you did this, and we're going to guess you again miss 93.
Yeah, I did miss that.
Okay, then the big question is rook takes d3, which you say is bad. Let's look. Boom. So rook f7, king h6, h4. Well, maybe there's a question here, Jack.
I didn't think about h4.
This is only because I've done the Polgar mates, folks. Yeah, that looks hard. Now, do you have to go to h6? Maybe not. So king here. But then there's this coconutty question. Look at that one. Oh, no. No, no, oh, no, oh, no. Wait, maybe we're not done yet. Rook e1. Because I got to go king d2. And then you say check to the miserable king. Oh, no, but look at that. Bang! Now, we're not done yet. We might be done, though, because he is up a pawn. So let's say we take this thing. And if I take this way, I think I'm going to lose my coconut. So I'm going to take this way. And I guess, well, white's definitely the one in charge. So let's go back again and look at that crazy tactic. So, okay, knight d3, rook takes d3. We're calling that forced. Here. So king h6, h4 seems to lose immediately. And then king g8. Just looking if there's another move besides knight g4, but I definitely want to play knight g4. The only way to survive here would be rook e1. You tell me if you see something else, though. Yeah, it looks bad. Here's a fun variation. Here, here, here. Now, knight h6 though is the main question, and then he's just totally fine because he can take this way. There might be something more fancy, but this is actually end of the line because.
What about rook e2 instead
Okay.
of rook f1?
Yeah, let's look at that. So, rook e2, king d1. Oh, but then you play bishop c4. Come on, Kraai. Wait a second. Oh. Okay, wait. It's still, I think we're still toast. It's a good question, though. Rook king c3. Maybe rook c8. No, rook c8, I play king takes d3. Rook takes c2, I'm playing king. Oh, king b3, then you have bishop c4. No. Wait a second. Rook c2, now king b. Oh, but check it out, Jack. Look at this one. First, we're going to look at king b4 next, but this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. This one, you should totally be able to survive because you're not down a pawn anymore. Okay, let's go back. That was rook e2 is a good move. And this is all forced, right? Rook e2, king c3, rook takes, and I can tell you king b4 ain't it, because then there's rook d4 followed by rook g4. Wow, so this, okay, king b3, check to the miserable, forced, 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 forced. And honestly, Jack, I would rather be black here. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I would rather be black because the white knights are tied. And whenever you get like a rook versus two minors, and the minors are kind of funky, the rook is just going to start wailing. Like rook d4 is going to be the main question here. Rook d4, you can imagine b3, rook f4, I'm coming into f2. Wait, let's check this variation. This was stunning. So, Jack, you should submit a tactic to the Dojo tactics database. Knight g4. Okay, wait. Knight g4 is the only move, right? I don't see anything else. Yeah. Okay, time out. The other thing that he could totally consider is CD, rook here, and then the claim that he has sufficient compensation. Though in this case, we're not talking about white being better, we're just talking about compensation. Well, it's definitely compensation, right? Let's go back and review. So this would have been forced, and then we're saying rook f7. Then we're saying king g8 is forced. Then we're saying we're just going to take the stupid bishop. Knight g4 is a threat, so this thing's got to go. I then take this, and it looks very dangerous. I'm threatening knight h7. Amazing. Okay. No, what a mess. Okay. Cool. Good variations. So, Jack, maybe later you can go through this and you can put your own spin on it.
Yeah, for sure.
This happens. This isn't impressive, though. Rook d3, good. I think you're better now. Rook takes d3 makes sense. Well, the other thing about bishop d... Well, okay, wait. Let's give your move a try first. The other thing that makes me nervous about it, of course, is like later he's going to be threatening king d2, right?
Yeah.
Now, is bishop f5 really a double question mark? Like what terrible? Is there terrible things going to happen to you?
I mean, I had a lot of trouble defending my pawns after that.
Okay. First of all, let me just say one thing. In general, we should say that the endgame, the bishop and rook combination is stronger than the rook and knight, especially in an open board like this. And the reason in general we wouldn't want to exchange the rooks is because the rook and the bishop complement each other in a variety of amazing ways, right? Like you have the bishop, for example, can do 13 squares, especially in a position like this, control an immense amount of squares. And then a rook, of course, is going to control 14. The knight only gets 8. And then, of course, if we just have the bishop, we only get the light squares, right? So that's why we call this usually the Fisher endgame. So bishop f5 might be a mistake because of knight d6. However, let's see if we can come up with a better place for that bishop. Like, if I put him here, for example, don't I retain all the advantages of the position? Yeah, I would rather be black. Unless white has something fancy here, I want to be black. Jack, let's say something else obvious. What we're seeing here is something that'll have a lot to do with chess experience. You're missing basic things from your opponent, right? There's been at least, like 2 or 3 moments where you miss what your opponent was going to do. And that one's not hard to see with knight d6, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, also at this point, I'm still like mentally kicking myself for missing.
Yeah, that's experience too. That's going to happen, yeah. Check to the miserable. Probably a good move by your opponent. Wait, do I... Okay. b6. And now the guy goes for the gold with knight b5, which again, if they're not going to win anything special over there, they should not be messing with this. Because, yeah, so I think they should try for this. King here. So I'm threatening king e5. If we imagine king f6, then we can imagine king d5. And all we know for certain is that white is much better. Also, actually, there's also g4. So this position would have put some strain on you. Yeah. That would be difficult to hold, I think. So he cuts you some slack. Check to the knight. You could also play a5 there too. Nah, now he's just getting tricky. Oh, this kid really started tanking. When did he start tanking? He started out not thinking, and then he was like, oh, I'm going to start thinking. I don't like rook c2 at all. Knight e8 definitely comes to mind. So rook c2, no one understands. Probably okay. He's trying to mate you, yeah. I don't know. Better work, though. Good. Now you're in control.
Didn't feel like it during the game.
Well, you're not losing. His pieces don't make any sense anymore, right? There's no rook d7. Yeah, in control. So, right, we don't want to play king g5 yet. that variation you give with rook e1, rook e3, and rook b3 at the... By the way, when I say in control, I don't mean to say even that you're better. I'd rather be black. I'll say it that way. I'd rather be black. I don't feel like he's coming after you in any significant way here. Yeah. Now, the real question for me on rook a1 would be rook d6. That would be my major question. He goes here, and you get frisky and play g5. Rook d4, honestly, maybe it makes sense, because on rook a2, which you give, he could, the bare minimum is he plays there, and he's the one in control all of a sudden. Right? Okay, wait. Let's see Kostya for a second. Bishop e4, bishop f4. Check to the miserable queen. Ooh, check to the miserable rook. Check to the miserable rook. Oh, my lord. Okay, so this went down. Kostya's up a pawn. Black has bishops. He's threatening things like bishop h2. Has Kostya Kost lost control of this thing? Again, the feeling is that he had a much cleaner win than this. That's the feeling. And when I say much cleaner win than this, I mean, his opponent might just be fine here. Yeah, the dark square bishop is very strong on c7. Now, bishop h2 isn't threatened yet, because we'll recapture king h2. So that's a good omen for us. Just having fun, says Kostya's dead winning. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, computer might say that. He still has to find a good move here. I definitely wouldn't call this dead winning. Bill's talking about knight g5. Let's look at knight g5 real quick here. So knight g5. What I don't understand there is rook takes, king takes, bishop h2. It's complicated anyway. Jack, have you ever had anyone call you Spock, buddy?
Yes. My girlfriend has called me that, actually.
That's funny, dude. Oh, here's an interesting thing. Kostya might be in the chat, dude, because we have a Chess Dojo Live, and that's either Kostya or Pruess, and you could ask yourself, how could Kostya possibly still be playing this game and also be in the chat? And the answer is because they're on some kind of delay, you know.
Oh, that too, yeah.
Wait, maybe we can get him in here. Kostya, join our Zoom call, Baus. Join our Zoom call, buddy. Come on. You're going to spoil the result. Ah, we can spoil the result. Kostya wouldn't be chiming in. He wouldn't be chiming in if he didn't win this game. That's one thing we know. Kostya said something about rook e7. I don't know exactly what position we're talking about here. This was the position in the game. Dude did play knight g5 after thinking. And let's assume that the thing Kostya's talking about is this position and rook e7. And And then we have a confusing Kavutskiy with here, 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 here. And, well, it's not a done deal yet, but it certainly is white's for choice. Yeah. Yeah, that's what he's saying after bishop h2, right? Kostya's on the phone talking to his mysterious girlfriend he won't tell us about, filling her in on the details. Kostya's here. Okay. Oh, he's connecting from a phone, so we might not get visual on Kostya. Kostya, are you there, buddy? Do you read me? Oh, he might not be reading me. Kostya, say something, man. Say something.
Oh, my mic's not working.
Now I hear you. Now I hear you fine.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, yeah.
Oh, great. Hello, hello.
So we're assuming you won this game?
Yeah, the game ended quickly. Instead of bishop takes h2, she was in time trouble. She played bishop d6. And now it's white to play.
Well, you have many pleasurable options.
Wow. Oh, I don't see the board, by the way.
We're just looking at the position after bishop d6 on move 30.
Yeah.
Oh, you just played rook e8, Mouse. There you go.
Rook e8, king g7, Jesse.
Rook e8, king g7. Oh, I blundered it. Okay.
So bishop e8. Bishop e8 was the end of the game.
Oh, bishop e8. Very nice. Very nice.
I almost...
Good move. Yeah, good move. So Abdul was mad at you, dude. He was like, how come the position got messy? How come it got messy?
Actually, I'd be interested in your input. I wasn't sure where I messed it up because I like my position, but wasn't totally sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, we thought, for example, when we looked just coming out of the opening, let's say move 10, that you have achieved like the dream.
Yeah.
Right? The total dream. And I said that a normal person would just castle instead of playing bishop takes f6.
Right.
You could castle both ways too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the first move. I was a little bit, I don't know. And then what I thought was bad form on your opponent's part is she tanked big on cd4, and then after the normal recapture ed4, she spent another 20 minutes. So that was weird.
Yeah, she was definitely struggling there. Because g5 is coming, and then she's not sure what to do. Mm-hmm. She moves her knight, and queen h3 is always... Yeah, it felt unpleasant.
But in a couple moves, she has a playable position, right?
Yeah, you mean once black gets f6 in, or?
Let's think about it. So queen h3, g6, rook ae1. We could debate rook ae1. And right, f6 happens, knight takes, queen takes. Yes, she's definitely alive.
Yeah, yeah.
And the first question I had was on g5, what if she just plays fg?
I take back.
Just fg calmly. And then let's say rook takes f1.
Probably take with the rook there.
But, okay, I'm worried that you're not going to be able to stop e5.
Okay. I thought I was in time, but maybe not. Next move is knight f3.
Like let's say queen e7. There might be other moves.
Yeah.
Knight f. I'm threatening g5, so knight f3, e5.
Right. Fake. Bishop takes. Is there like rook e1?
Well, and I don't know, but I have queen c5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so that might be pretty playable for black.
Now maybe she's got something else by queen e7, but that was just like the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Right, because if she ever achieves e5, then she's totally alive.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, I mean, that was just my plan, try to stop e5. And yeah, I can see why she wanted to keep the tension. I think she assumed that I could just never really take on f6, but I think when I did it, it's actually already nice there for white.
Well, right, dude. And Abdul, we're giving credit to Abdul because he saw that stuff, dude. I wasn't totally sure. I was talking to Jack. We were looking at Jack's game too. But Abdul found your nice queen g5 and then the d. We're assuming she missed that d5 was hanging. Right?
Yeah. I think so. I was very tricky. I played knight f3. You play c7 pretty fast because it's an obvious move, getting out of the pin thing. And then I played gf6 very quickly.
Right.
Trying to induce.
Yeah, so for that reason, the natural queen c7 is likely a big mistake. And then she committed to like she made her big moves real fast. Queen c7 was the big decision. Then e5, boom. Also, just like I got you, because if queen g5 isn't there, then white's in trouble, right?
I think it's just losing.
Yeah. So like she's got to be like Dvoretsky style, be like, well, what's dude thinking?
Yeah, exactly.
What's dude thinking? Because she can always bail. Like in this position, she can get a clearly worse position with f5. She can consider fg. This is before queen c7.
Right.
And then on df6, I mean, her position's nasty with rook f6, but she could do it.
Yeah.
Like I would say you're clearly better in that position after knight e5.
Right.
KGB might say you're strategically winning, and I probably wouldn't doubt it too much. But you still have some work to do.
Yeah, I figured just tough for black because not much time, and then bishop on b7 or c8 doesn't really play. Yeah, build up endlessly. h4, rook e3.
Yeah. Well, cool, dude. We were saying you had to. We needed to get. You needed some adrenochrome, dude.
Yeah, needed this one. Sure.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, Jack's still here. Oh, I'm sorry. I blew up the Zoom call with Kostya. Shifted Jack. So. Okay.
Oh, maybe you need to hide non-video participants.
Hide non-video participants. That's a new thing on me, buddy. I don't know how to do that one, man.
In the view somewhere. Option.
I think if you hover over the person's tile and zoom.
Hide non-video participants. Dang, Kostya knows, dude. Okay, wait. Let's bring him. Okay, it should be working though now. How come it's not working? Anyways, oh, this thing says Kostya. It's still messed up, but I can fix it. There's Jack. We just gotta. He's tiny. He's tiny, 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 but I'm gonna make him bigger. There he is. There's our Jack right there, buddy. Nice. Okay, let me make you smaller. Well, cool, Kostya. Now, are you guys doing 2 rounds a day? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so I got another game in about 2.5 hours.
Okay, dude. Yeah, go rest. Go rest.
Yeah.
Jack's showing me his incredibly adventurous endgame that he played recently. Well, cool, dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching the game. See you guys.
All right, bye.
Luck next round.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's look at this game, and then I got to go pick up my animals. So, rook a1, rook d4 might be a good move. And then he's kind of putting you on the spot here. Oh, wait a second. You could have played... no, can't play bishop d7. You could play bishop c2. Yeah, I think bishop c2 is your move, Box. Oh! No, yeah, bishop c2 is your move. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's still not showing up on El Zumo. There we go. There we go. So, correct. Bishop c2, g5. So you missed rook d6?
No, I knew he was going to play rook d6, but on the move before, I had like probably around 20 seconds. And
Oh, yeah.
for some reason, I thought rook h4 was mate, just forgetting that my king could go to that square. So I was panicking and just played g5.
Here, my opponent offered a draw, and I accepted immediately. He's a little kid, buddy. What do you mean? I thought he was better given my trapped king and pinned bishop, but we are both under 1 minute on the clock. Okay. So here I get it. It takes a little coconuts, but is there any reason to think you're, okay, I was about to say, is there any reason to think you're worse, but I guess you did think you were worse.
Is there any reason to think I'm better?
I don't know it's hard for me to say you're worse. So for example, let's say I would play rook d4. Now, if the knight moves, at the default, I have rook b4. All right? That's the default. I might have something better, but that would be my default call if he moves the knight. And maybe the guy should play rook b5, but there's a lot of questions on rook b5 because then, for sure, black's the one playing for the juice after, say, a4. I'm no longer pinned. And right, the bishop controls a lot of squares. The knight controls a maximum of 8. One of the things I've gotten, other people too, I think, from going over your games too, is like this moment will occur again where you're playing some kid and they're lower rated and you have to mentally prepare yourself to not take the draw. Now, I get it. If you're actually worse, then I understand. But yeah, like I said, I don't think you're worse. And what I mean by that is, like the game, first of all, when you play on like that, especially against a lower-rated opponent, of course you could lose. Of course you could lose. And it will happen at some point. But, right, the critical but, you will win more often than not. Plus, you're giving yourself, like, learning experience opportunities, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, but wait a second. So this was this Austin Championship thing, right?
Yeah, it was the Austin Chess Club Winter Open.
Oh, I see. Whereas the new one, you've got 2-0. You got 2-0 on the new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one was back in January.
Let's go stalk you for a second, Bobs. So user search, Jack. Boom. And then if we look at the USCF, oh, it's a hard road, man. Dang. So 1345 USCF, ChessCom, you're way up there. That's a solid ChessCom graph you got going on over there.
Yeah.
By the way, this is what I meant by the question marks, right? So like things where you just hover over it and then it tells you. Tells you
Right.
things.
I mean, we've got some of those around the site. Just
Well, obviously we got them right here. Yeah. Okay. And let's just check in on your. Yeah, you're doing a lot, dude. You're doing it. Kavutskiy's endings, nice. Annotated games. Games played. Zone Horse. Yeah, I've been aware of Zone Horse. This is
I
great,
think
dude.
he just joined pretty recently.
That sounds right to me. Yeah, he sent me a message recently too. Great, dude. That was great. Okay, Jack, I got to run, but that was a great stream.